Hey, welcome back to the Vikings Playbook. This is your host, Steve Hoikkala, and it's week 17. We have a Christmas Day matchup, so I'm getting ahead of it a little bit early because I want to make sure that my Christmas Eve and your Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are filled with not only fun and family, but also a little bit of football, but mostly so you guys don't have to worry about, hey, can I catch any pregame shows? On Christmas Eve. So you can focus on your family Christmas Eve. You can catch it now, at least a day earlier. So, with today's episode, obviously we got the Christmas theme going on, and it's a whiteout game. So, whiteout game on Thursday. So we got the Winter Warrior jerseys that the Minnesota Vikings previewed last year. They're bringing them back again this year. I think it's one of my favorite jerseys that they have. I think that they should maybe do it more often, but I think maybe they do it one a game or one time a year, one game a year, just because I think I don't know, maybe it sells more. I'm sure that there's a marketing ploy to that, but today's episode of the Vikings Playbook, this Christmas edition, I'm being joined by my special guest, Skol Geek, Josh. So go ahead and follow him on social media on X. He's at Skol Geek, and he's coming on today to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Vikings and the matchup between the Detroit Lions. So, Josh, how are we doing today?
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me on, man. I'm really excited to be here.
So, we talk a little bit on social media, and those of you that don't already follow Josh, he's very active with the Minnesota Vikings, and you also do some other podcasts as well, and you do a weekly one with NFL Outdated. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of a fun podcast. NFL Outdated, he hosts it, and then he usually has a representative for each individual team in the NFC North to come on and talk about their teams. Really fun banter. So if you guys ever want to catch it, just follow NFL Outdated. I also am on another podcast for Skol Doc. Every once in a while, he does a podcast called House Calls. So both of those really fun to be on. So thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Winter Warrior jerseys going on. I mentioned right before I brought you on. I think these are one of my favorite ones. I mean, I think social media was just begging for these for a couple of years, and then finally, the
Yeah.
Vikings said, "Okay, you want it? We'll give it to you." What are your thoughts on the jersey?
Oh, love the jersey. Big time fan. I actually went to the it was either Christmas Eve game or Christmas Day game 2 years ago, I believe. It was right before this jersey came out, but they did the whiteout.
Mhm.
It was that year, I think we were playing the Lions, or maybe it was the Giants, actually. That's who it was. Sorry, I go to a lot of these games, so I forget who we played. But yeah, that was a really fun game. Got to go there with my son, and it was the whiteout before they came out with these really slick jerseys, but I love them. And like you said, I do wish that they could use them more, but I think just not using them as much kind of makes it a little bit more special.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. But they look sharp.
Yeah.
I think the players like them. The fans love them. Those helmets just
Yeah.
pop. Absolutely do. Now,
Yeah.
before we get into this, those of you that are watching us on YouTube or on X, you can go ahead and send us any comments or questions. You can see the ticker on the bottom. So if you have questions for myself or the Skol Geek, Josh, about week 17 and the matchup against the Detroit Lions, go ahead and throw those into the comments. We'll bring them on the screen if you have any. And just thank you for watching. If you're not already following and subscribing, please make sure that you go out and follow us either on X, YouTube, Facebook. I'm starting to get up, and Instagram, being that this is only the
Hey,
second
hey.
Vikings playbook podcast. So we're expanding, we're getting out there. And yeah, Josh, you're my second guest on the show, and I'm just excited to keep on growing this podcast.
Yeah, man. I'm super honored to be here. This is crazy. Just getting to know you, through X, just messaging, you never really know how a person is, but man, I'm really excited to be here and just talk a little bit of Vikings football with you.
Absolutely. So when we bounce into this matchup, when we take a look at it, the way that these two teams stack up, uh, the Vikings, we get a win, three straight wins. We're at 7-8.
Right.
Now, overall, this is PFF stats, so take it for what you will. Sometimes, PFF, you got to watch the game versus what you see on. But looking at their stats, overall, we're ranked 20th. Offense, we're ranked 26th. Defense is ranked 17th, and special teams, for the first time in a long time now, we actually got bumped down to second. Uh,
I don't know
we
how that's even possible.
right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me, especially with the kind of mix-ups that we've had on special teams with Miles Price doing a few fumbles. So I don't understand how. I mean, everybody else must be really bad if we're second in the league.
Well, I think, so there's two different ways to look at it. With special teams, Will Reichard's been awesome. 27 of
That's
29
true.
field goals. He's 9 of 11 from 50 yards or plus. Ryan Wright, who I gave a lot of crap to
That's
in the offseason,
great point.
he has actually been punting a lot better this year. And Miles Price, although the couple fumbles that he did have, he's been a great returner. I think the thing that I've been most frustrated with special teams has been the penalties. And
Yep.
Miles Price has been delivering, whether it be punt returns,
Yes.
most of the kick
Very
returns that he's had.
frustrating.
We've had a touchdown called back, several really long returns from Miles
Yep.
Price. I mean, Miles Price would probably for sure be in the Pro Bowl if we didn't have as many holding penalties on a lot of his big returns.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah, and you make a great point about Ryan Wright. When you think about special teams, you obviously think about these returns, punt return and kick return, but
Mhm.
obviously field goals and extra points. So Will Reichard's done an incredible job all season. I think he's only missed 2 field goals all season. Does that sound right to you?
2. Yep, 20,
Yeah.
27 and 29. He's perfect on extra points. And
Yeah.
the 2 that he's missed, one of them at least, it hit the cable, right? In Dublin.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I
there is
thought it
that.
hit the cable. I think it was somebody on K-Fan that kind of pointed it out. Um, uh, Halverson or somebody.
Mhm.
I can't remember exactly who pointed it out, but once you look at it, it really does take a real quick hook right, as it's going by the cable. I know the NFL is definitely vehemently denying the fact that it hit that cable, but it sure does look like it did.
Yeah, no, Will's been phenomenal this year and just a long of I think 66 was his long this year.
Yep.
Just
With extra
he's been
room to
amazing.
spare on that
Yeah,
66 yarder.
yeah, yeah, he's been amazing.
Yep.
So now when we take a look at the Lions and their record, so they're very close. They're just the opposite of us, and we beat them.
Right.
You know, so we beat them back in I think it was week 9 that we beat them, but 8-7. Their overall PFF stats second on offense, fourth on defense,
Jeez
third on
Louise.
special teams. This
How?
is not the look of a team that's eight
Yep.
and seven,
Yep. I just don't understand how you can have an 8-7 record and have the second best offense in the league and the fourth best defense
right?
in the league. Look at
Mhm.
that. Special teams is the third best in the league, and you have an 8-7 record. Just seems like everybody's Super Bowl is against the Lions. I mean, they bring their best game when they play the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you caught the Sunday game against the
I did.
Steelers, but
I did. Honestly, I don't know what you feel about that, but I really feel like the Lions got screwed at the end of the game twice. Like there was one play with about 30 seconds left when Tesla and Amon-Ra St. Brown were lined up on the right side of the field. And I
mhm,
think they were on like the 2-3 yard line. And it looked like a natural pick play where Tesla kind of crosses in front of Amon-Ra. But you call a pick penalty or an offensive pass interference if the guy kind of makes a move out of his line. But Tesla just runs straight, and both of those guys didn't make any effort to get off of that, to get out of his way or get around him at all. So it just
sure.
made no sense at all that they would call that offensive pass interference. I mean, I'm not a Lions fan, but I do feel like it sucks when the call is just wrong, completely wrong. And then there was that other call right after that. There was an offensive pass interference when Amon Ra was on the left side of the field, and he kind of did a little bit of a push off. I would say that that one was offensive pass interference, but it was
Are
real
you talking
ticky
about the
tack.
last play of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the one where
I
Jared
think they
Goff,
got
like,
that right.
catches it in the air and then jumps in the
Yeah.
end zone.
Now that was to watch that live
Yeah.
was incredible. You were like, "What
Yeah.
is going on?" You know, and
Yeah.
is that still a live ball? You see Jared Goff pick it up, and then he goes airborne.
Yep.
You see his head actually go like this. He's almost like
Yeah.
cartwheeling up in the
He
air.
got some of those moves from Garrett Bradbury, grabbing that nice flip up and then just running it.
Jared
Oh,
Goff went
man.
into full send mode, trying to win that ball game, but,
Yeah, he did. That was
yeah, so
awesome.
it was incredible. It was an incredible game to watch, but again, so for some reason, they get into certain games against opponents that they probably should beat, um, and I don't wanna say that they play down, to their opponent's level, but eh, to an extent, it always seems that, their defense will have good defensive games, but not, when they get into track meets, their defense
Yep.
struggles, you
Yep.
know? When their offense is struggling, their defense is playing well, and it's like they manage, and it's never like, "Hey, defense is great, offense is
Yes.
great," and
Yep.
that's just kinda, I think, what we're seeing with that 8-7 record. I mean, we saw it with the Vikings, when we played them in Detroit. That should have been a game that they were heavily favored in,
Right.
and they're gonna be heavily favored again in this one.
Yeah.
But that's the tail of the tape. I really don't think that this is a game that we should, take a look at, and we'll dive into it, but I don't think we should look at this game as, if the Vikings aren't looking at this, as if we lose this game, there's repercussions,
Yeah.
but for the Detroit Lions, there's massive implications on this game. They have a ton more to play for. They're
Yes.
still in the playoffs. Now, it's
They
a very
are. They're
slim
still in the hunt.
chance. They have to win these next 2 games, and they need to hope that the Packers lose their next 2 games, which the
Yeah.
Vikings play the Packers next week. So,
Yeah. The resident Lions fan on that other podcast that I'm on, for NFL Outdated, he guaranteed that the Lions were gonna lose against the Steelers. I was like, "I don't understand how the Lions can lose against the Steelers." He's like, "They are going to lose." And I was like, "No way. Lions are gonna win this game." And they had a chance to win the game at the end. It's just, didn't work out. So, hopefully, the Vikings. I know a lot of people want the Vikings to lose these last 2 games, but in my personal opinion, it's just I go along the lines of that's just a loser mentality, and the more that you want to lose games, the more you invite that losing culture into your team. So I say go out, try to win the games. There's not going to be a huge difference between where you pick if you win a couple extra games at the end of the season. Yes, it is true that in the past we kind of shot ourselves in the foot when it comes to the draft. I think it was 2011 when Andrew Luck and RG3 were coming out. I don't know if you remember this, but we were terrible that season. We just had to lose the last game of the season, and we could have gotten Andrew Luck. Well, anyway, it happened. We won the game by a few points, and then we got Khalil. What was his name? Ryan. What was that tackle's name?
yeah,
Khalil.
um,
Matt Khalil.
Matt
Sorry about
Khalil.
that.
Yep,
Yes, and I think he has a brother
tackle.
named Ryan
Yeah.
Khalil. Yes, so didn't really work out all that well for us in that particular situation. So I
Alright,
still think we win these games. We try at least to win these games.
alright. You and I are on the same page with this, and I think that, yes, you still go out there and try to win the game. Um, Really tall task this week against, a team that, shouldn't be 8-7, has a lot more to play for, still trying to get in the playoffs, but in a really talented offense that comes to town too. But we're going to take a look at some video real quick about last week's game with
Yeah.
some real quick analysis, as far as what happened last game. I want to say last week, but it just
Yeah,
happened a couple days
just
ago, right?
yesterday.
So 2 days ago, taking a look at the Giants game, and just when we take a look at this, and I don't think that he's going to be playing. So JJ McCarthy, he gets injured right before halftime in the
Yep.
Giants game. and we saw him with the coaches, and the trainer took a look at his hand, and he walks away.
Yeah.
Had
He
he had some
winced
pain.
and plant yeah, he looked like he
Absolutely.
was in a lot of pain.
So that hit, and we'll take a look at that hit by Brian Burns, but and Brian O'Neill said, "Hey, the play was blocked the way it was supposed to be blocked. It
Yep.
was supposed to be a quick screen." Supposedly, and I've seen the video on it too, and it's
What do
legit.
you think?
It looks like
You think it's a bad play design?
I don't think so. So more people that I mean, it might have been a bad play design, but it looked like JJ tried to get rid of it, and he tried to dirt the ball before, so you can
But
see the
is
ball
there enough
slips out.
time if you've got somebody like Brian Burns coming off the edge
Oh,
and
sure.
he's so fast, if you have a play design where you gotta let go of that ball that fast, I
Mhm.
don't know if there's enough time for Justin Jefferson to turn around and just get the ball out there. Yeah, maybe you have time to dirt it, but other than that, I mean, it just didn't seem like it's a well thought out play.
Sure. But as far as, like, was he trying to hold the ball? I think he saw Brian Burns, he tried to dirt it, and it
Yeah,
looks like the ball slips out, and, some are saying that, hey, he had already hurt his hand, before he was having trouble gripping the ball, and maybe that's what happened there. But anyways, he gets hit. Um, he does X-rays, no fractures.
that's good.
There
Good
is
news.
there is at least some concern. Listening to Paul Allen on the radio here today, there was some possible concern. An X-ray is not necessarily going to show you if there's any ligament damage, but that is a
That's
possible
true.
concern. So,
Did they do an MRI, do you know?
I haven't seen anything saying that they
Mm,
they did an MRI. I'm guessing that one was done. I would be shocked if they have not, "Hey, let's do an MRI of that thing too,"
yeah,
because there's things that the X-ray is just not gonna show.
yeah,
But when we take a look at, whether or not he's gonna play already on Thursday after having this done on a short week, and and they didn't have practice yesterday, but he's still, down as a DNP, so he wasn't coming in and working out
yeah,
whatever it is. I think most likely, that is signaling that Max
yeah,
Brosmer will most likely be the starting quarterback
probably.
on Thursday. So we're gonna take a look at the
Yeah,
video,
and
though.
history has shown that, Kevin O'Connell's gonna be really cautious when it comes to
Mhm.
JJ McCarthy
Yeah,
and missing, like, what was it, 6 weeks at the beginning of the year for a little bit of a twisted ankle. I don't know, it just, he's probably not gonna come back in and play on, with a short week like this when he held him out for 6 weeks for a sprained ankle.
yeah, I mean, I think it's not only that, but I think it's, you know, eh, some people are
They're
gonna
gonna
not
roast you,
like
man, either way.
they're not gonna like this, but, it's a confidence thing too. I mean, if you're struggling with your hand and throwing the football, and, you already got people taking sides on, but you started having some positivity. I think, and we're gonna take a look at it. I think that there was some positivity against the Giants that we're gonna take a look at,
Oh my gosh.
but,
I know we're gonna look at these plays, but I was actually really excited about the first half,
mhm,
before he got hurt, so
you and
excited
I
to
are in
get
the
into
same
it.
camp. So let's
Yeah,
take a look at the video, and we'll break down some of these plays.
yeah.
This is gonna be let me add this back on. Sorry, wrong button. Alright, so
Oh, yeah.
this very first play that I just showed, this is exciting. So right away early in the ball,
Yes,
and you're seeing an energetic Jettas out there, and I like that they're getting it to him underneath, and you can see his ability to not only get open early, but then also make plays once he has the ball. So JJ puts it in the right spot to where Jettas can then take it upfield, maybe make a few players miss and get the first down. And I like the fact that they're looking for JJ or for Jettas in some more of those underneath type routes.
absolutely, and, just like you said, it's an underneath route. I know that these are, like, scripted plays, so
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
lot like, like, people that are gonna be, speaking negatively about JJ McCarthy might think, oh, well, he can hit him on a scripted play, but can he continue to do that throughout the rest of the game? And you'll see here that he actually did continue to do that past the scripted plays.
Correct.
And I really do like how Justin Jefferson was not only getting open, but running really hard after the catch.
One of the other things that, I had mentioned for a key to the game last week was, making sure that we go to those checkdowns and go to those checkdowns early. So your
Absolutely.
receiver can get the ball, turn, make a move on a defender to get that extra yak. And that's kind of what we're seeing in this game.
See if Brian Burns can match up against their backup.
3 tight ends on the field, and this is one of them, Josh Oliver.
This design screen,
Beautiful.
amazing play design, but what a fake. I think that play totally faked out the defense to where the release, especially by Josh Oliver and the offensive lineman, was perfect. And then to see 3 offensive linemen
Oh,
out
man.
blocking for a tight end with the
Yeah.
ball.
Just
Oof. If you're a defender, that's gotta be a nightmare.
a convoy.
I absolutely love this play. I had to throw this in here because I geeked out when I saw this play for sure.
Oh, such a good play design. And this, kind of the opposite of that other play that JJ McCarthy got
JJ,
hurt on.
yeah.
It was actually a well-designed play. Gives him enough time. The offensive line holds up, the protection holds up while he's able to get that to get the play kind of rolling.
Down back, and then they have TJ Hawkinson, who's going to be cut. Little nasty split. There's TJ Hawkinson in a little nasty split.
3rd down and 4. McCarthy fires to the end zone.
Oh,
He was looking for Addison.
I was hoping.
We're gonna talk about it.
So the Vikings now send out the field goal unit.
I was
Yeah,
hoping
take a
that
look
you were
at
going to
Dexter
have this
Lawrence
play
and the
in here.
pressure he's going to get right up the gut. And this is why J.J. McCarthy had to throw this a little early. They've been wanting to see this from Dexter Lawrence all season long. He can bully any offensive lineman one-on-one. J.J. McCarthy actually throws a very nice ball. Oh, Jordan Addison.
All right, so this is the frustrating thing. So people that didn't watch this game will look at a stat
Right.
sheet and they're going to see that JJ threw for 9 for 14.
Yep.
What if you watch the game? There are 3 obvious drops that hit receivers in the hands that should have been at least catches, and that was a touchdown. You just lost volume. I don't know.
Oh, I was just going to say that all 3 of our receivers, Naylor, JJ, and Addison, all dropped passes, and
Mhm.
it's just so sad considering that all those balls were right there. Really, really good balls, and it's not like he threw it too hard. I know that's kind of been the knock on JJ McCarthy is that he throws it too hard, but that's just like barely looped up there. What I don't understand is that Addison's never had this problem his previous years. He's never had this many drops.
Mhm.
In fact, he has had really, really good hands in the end zone for the most part, making just some really spectacular catches. And then this easy one just drops it. He's had a
I'm not going to
case.
totally dog him because the ball was underthrown to where he had to adjust to go get it. But when it hits you in the hands and in the breadbasket, man, you got to hold on to that thing. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't contested.
Nope.
You didn't have somebody hitting you or anything like that. So, I mean, you got to bring that ball down. And, that's the kind of game changing type play that this needs for, JJ McCarthy to ascend. You got to be able to make those type of plays for your quarterback, whether it's a young quarterback, or an experienced vet.
Yep.
You just do.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened to another podcast called Purple Daily, but yesterday they were talking about um, if you take a lot of those plays, like just like the straight up dropped balls, and you make him catches, which I know this is something that he really shouldn't
He's
go
12 of
into.
14. He's 12 of 14. He
Right.
probably has 160 some yards. I didn't listen to it, but I mean, roughly that's what he's looking at.
Yeah. And it's not just this game. If you go back previous games and you do the same thing, PFF scores and the QB rating just goes sky high. Like you're right around the same area as Jared Goff and Bo Nix. So I know that you can't just see it because those guys had drops too, I'm sure. So
Well,
you can't
yeah,
just
y-
automatically
eh,
say that if
I know,
all
I
those
know,
drops didn't happen, then he'd
right?
be good.
Because they have drops too, right?
Right.
So, but obviously we're having a lot of issues with that on this team, a lot more than some of those quarterbacks. But
More
that
than
was a
years
crucial one,
past, I'll say that.
and we're gonna at least bring up the nailer one here coming up as well.
Century is in 100 years.
This century, since at least 2000.
Okay.
There's McCarthy on first down, takes off.
What I wanted to see from JJ in this last game against the Giants, he showed more of, and he has the last few games, is
Yes.
when there's green grass in front of you, and if your read's not there, but you got open grass, take off.
Yeah.
And he makes a quick decision here instead of getting bottled up. And now you're in a worse position to where the walls are closing in, right? But he gets out there and he shows in this game, which will show the rushing touchdown as well. But he shows that his legs are a weapon. He's
Yeah.
able to run with the ball. Now, on some of these plays, when he gets in this situation, I would rather see him slide rather than
Yeah,
lead
I
with
was
his
actually
head.
gonna ask you about that. Because did you hear last week the announcers talking about how the coaches actually want him to dive head first instead of sliding? Because when you do the slide, obviously, where
Takes off
you
yards.
initiate
Yeah.
the slide is where you're gonna and also they were saying the reason why the coaches want him to dive head first is because you can kinda see where your head is gonna go.
Mhm.
But that's, in my
I'm
opinion,
I'm
the
for
thing that
that
you
if you're
don't see.
close.
Yeah. The thing that you don't see is the one that puts you out of full season.
Yeah.
And with the, JJ McCarthy's injury injury
Right.
bug that he's gotten all year, why take the risk? Just slide. It just doesn't make any sense. And that drove me crazy all year long. And to come to find out last week that they are actually teaching him to dive, it just makes no sense to me, especially when he's kind of fragile.
I think it's probably depending on the situation. I mean, if you're really close to the first down, hey, go get it. Um, but I mean, if it's a 1st and 10 type play like this, you got another couple downs to get that extra yard,
Yeah.
yard and a half. So I'd rather see him slide. But like the touchdown, which we'll get to, and what he did last week, I'm for it. I like what he did.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next play here.
3rd down and 12. Pass is complete. And Jefferson will pick up a first.
Now he gets it out quick to Justin Jefferson to where Jefferson's able to at least do something with, but you saw the motivation, you saw the will. I mean, you just saw Jefferson. He's got the will to play, and this is the fire that maybe we weren't seeing from
Yep.
Jefferson. I think we definitely saw it in this game early on. And I think if JJ McCarthy stays in this football game, this is probably a big game for Jefferson. And I just like the energy that he was playing with
Absolutely.
in this game to try to, you know, like he's like, I'm getting that first down.
Yeah.
I'm getting all of these extra yards.
Isn't
And,
that great?
love to see
I
it.
mean, that's the same thing that we saw in that first play. It's just that will and that desire to go get the first down. He's not just going to go down as soon as somebody touches him.
Right.
And as for JJ's throw, nice tight spiral, right on the money, good read. A lot. I feel like when JJ comes into a lot of these games, he's really hyped up, which I
Mhm.
can understand. You're a rookie, you're excited about getting into these games, but as he gets more time under his belt, I think he's going to be less and less like super overly pumped up, and the adrenaline's not going to be flowing through the veins as much. Because I feel like when he does have that amount of adrenaline pumping through his veins, he's not going to sail a lot of those balls.
Right.
And that's what I really think was kind of holding him back. But look at this. nice, cool, calm, collected, makes the right read, and right on the money. Gives Justin Jefferson enough time to go and get that first down.
First down. Excellent. Second down and 9. Oh, McCarthy on the deflection. It's picked off by.
Nice awareness, Paul.
Hits him right in the hands. There is no reason why this ball should have been a drop. You know, he's catching it with his hands. What he should do as a wide receiver, and then you're just going to see him bobble it, and you know, kind of a freak play of how it comes off of him right into Paulson Adebo's hands. But you know, that's one you got to have. And again, looking back at the stat sheet, you know, you look at the stat sheet. Yeah, it's a pick, man. JJ threw a good ball.
Absolutely.
That's not on JJ at all.
Pre-snap reads. He was right there, made the perfect throw, right exactly where you want it, and he just missed it.
And this is one of the things that in Knox, I'll say, you know, with the PFF rating, you know, initially, you know, again, watching the game, you know, I get it's going to be an interception, but you know, you can't rate him as hard on a ball like this. That is not his fault.
Also, Adebo, ball comes off of Jalen Naylor's hands, catches it right there. Look at his feet, drags that right.
So, anyways, I don't know if you had any more to say on that, but I mean, obviously, we know it. He's got to catch that ball. That's not on JJ.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, we've said it enough, and a lot of people around the league have been saying it too, that, you know, JJ has thrown a lot of bad balls in other games and taken flack for it, for sailing and throwing a lot of balls high. So if we're going to give him flack for all these other balls that he's sailing high, we got to give him credit for these and say, hey, this is a good throw. And his receivers didn't have the greatest game when it comes to drops.
Right.
Kevin O'Connell telling us we've played good complementary football over the last 2 weeks. As McCarthy fires.
Wow.
Jefferson.
Just an awesome throw.
Yeah.
And an amazing catch by Justin Jefferson,
incredible.
being able to toe drag, get his feet in.
On that last ball, do you think that it was thrown too hard?
I mean, we can go back and watch it real quick, but I mean,
yeah, let's watch it live. See if it's
I don't
thrown
think
too
so.
hard. Because that's kind of the knock on him, is that he throws it too hard. But Brett Favre threw really hard back in the day.
Second down and 9. Oh, McCarthy on the deflection.
That's not too hard.
No, not at all.
Not in my opinion.
I'm sorry, I catch that ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, the last play that we just saw, amazing catch by Jefferson. I'll try to get through these other ones a little bit quicker.
Going up against his former teammate at LSU, Cordell Flott.
I'm watching both feet, right down, left down.
Flott's
That's a beauty.
pretty good
In
corner.
Illinois, in the Chicago area.
Right, and I mentioned those
That
out
body
routes
control
because
is
when I
perfect.
played against Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, it is so hard to defend those out routes. And then we have to start making up defenses to try to stop that, leaving the middle of the defense open.
Now McCarthy on third down. It's Jefferson.
Showing again, underneath route, going to
Is
Jefferson.
just short.
Jefferson getting some
Needed
additional
15.
yak. Great play.
Following the Drew Phillips penalty. Fake to Jones. McCarthy with time. Throws, and it is complete.
Good
Jordan
job.
Addison.
Over the middle, finds the
Inside
opening.
his stats.
Wide receiver.
10th play of the drive. Third and goal. McCarthy throws.
Wow.
Deflected, picked off. Deflected away from Naylor. It's Javon Holland. And Holland will take it all the way for a Giants touchdown. Guilty Giant.
This didn't count against him in the
Abdul
stats because
Carter
of the penalty, but this would
lining
have been the
up
fourth drop.
In the
and
neutral
second that
zone,
went for an
and that
interception
negates
and
a
almost
pick six. That would have been the second interception today. Oh, man, that is just...
And you saw that right off the hands.
Yep.
And again, you know, who is it? Great
Naylor.
game last week, but it's Naylor again.
It's a
Hits him right in
touch
the
too
hands.
high. I would say it's a touch too high, but
Hits you in the hands as a wide
you're-
receiver. You
yep,
got
you're in the NFL. You got to make those catches. That's I mean, you make a lot of money so that you can bring in those balls.
Yeah, and we got saved by the penalty.
Yep. Oh, man, that is just horrible. Abdul Carter just not paying.
Jefferson's
Here's
put out to
JJ
the right
and his
side.
rushing touchdown.
Addison, top of your screen, comes in motion.
Again, nobody's
McCarthy
open.
on third down.
Makes the right decision here.
Looking,
Takes off and
can't
runs.
find anyone. Inside
And
the
I like
5, hurdles
him leading with
into
the
the
head
end zone for a
on this
Vikings
play.
touchdown.
I like what he did here. So, I mean, yeah, this is the discussion. But on these situations where you're right here by the end zone, I like that play instead of
Yeah,
sliding.
I do too.
Nice job by JJ.
Looks like a
McCarthy. He's
first-round
gonna
pick
recognize the pressure coming up
Yeah,
front.
I mean, up to this
Instead
point
of
in the
wasting
game,
time trying to dance
other
back
than
there, he's able to go
maybe
and then
the
continue to
pick.
wait. And then here
That
comes
wasn't his
JJ
fault.
McCarthy
Playing a
recognizing
really
the
solid
pressure,
game.
keeps his eyes downfield. Nothing's into those Super Bowls.
Bam! For Burns, knocks the ball free, and the Giants are going to score on defense. Tyler Newman.
That defense. Just take a look at Brian Burns going unblocked. They're trying to run a screen to Justin Jefferson. There is no way.
You see that moment where he looks,
Yeah,
he
he double
sees
clutched.
Burns,
Yep.
and he tried to get rid of the ball, and I don't know if that's what screwed him up or whether it was a grip issue that's being talked about. But again, you watching it from a different angle, a pivoted angle that I've seen, that I did see Thor Nystrom send that out. You can see he tried to get rid of the ball to try to dirt it,
Yeah.
and it slips out and it fumbles before even Brian Burns hits him.
Yep. It's
So
true.
it would have been out anyways.
That you should hold on.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take that video down, and we can start to get into our keys of the game. But the main thing that I wanted to show, and I think we're both probably on the same page, is JJ McCarthy played a pretty good game for that first half of football.
Yep.
You can look at that fumble, which we can attribute that to him, but that pick, not his fault. The other one that might have been a pick six, but a penalty negated it. Again, you can say a little bit high, but again, it's off the right wide receiver's hands. So we
Yep.
had 3, almost 4 drops by wide receivers. Those are things that need to be cleaned up. So I'm not exactly sure what that takes. I think in the offseason, I've mentioned this before, if at least Justin Jefferson, but if wide receivers are not practicing in the offseason with JJ McCarthy, somebody needs to be fired for not coordinating that,
Yeah, it's true.
spending the money to make that happen. Whether it's, JJ and Jetta's, we got you guys vacation homes, or we rented some places for you guys to spend a couple of weeks
Yeah.
out of a month throughout the summer. I don't know. There's league rules, I'm sure, to some of that stuff, but whatever they got to do to help assist to make that happen, whether it's before everyone leaves after the end of the season, a talk from the head coach and GM, and and if I'm JJ McCarthy, that's what I say. I come to my star
Yeah.
wide receiver and I say, hey Justin, I'm sorry about this season didn't go the way I wanted it to, or how you wanted it to, and I want to get things back on track. I want to make sure that we're jiving, we're on the same
Yeah.
wavelengths. And what can we do? When can we get
Yeah.
together this offseason to make sure we come into 2026 banging?
Yeah, and I don't even think that people really thought about how, Justin Jefferson not having enough time with JJ McCarthy and getting on that same page, even in summer fall camp, they really didn't get enough time to get acclimated to each other and really didn't think about how that's going to affect their chemistry throughout the year. But like you said, this game, he does look like a first round pick, and not just talking about this particular game, but just going back and watching the development throughout the year. He's really made strides in his maturity and with where his ball placement, pre-snap reads, like reads during the play. He's really, really made a huge leap from where he was when he was losing those games. And I don't know if, the concussion did anything for him, the reason why he looked so bad in a couple of those games, but this game really just popped out to me with how good JJ McCarthy looked
Yeah,
before
I
his
mean,
injury.
the Washington, Dallas, and this game, you've
Yep,
seen
yep,
a gradual trajectory of him improving
absolutely.
his game and developing, and we'll get to some of those questions at the end, but, I think we continue to see that against the Giants as well. So you can't look at the score, you can't look at the stat sheet,
Yep,
because those are misleading. If you watch that first half with your eyes, you saw a quarterback, that was playing very well on the field. Now, let's dive into the injury reports here. Getting back to the Lions game on Thursday, we take a look at the Vikings and where they're sitting. So we have TJ Hawkinson, he's on there with the shoulder.
yep.
Ryan Kelly is a big one that stands out. He has his third concussion of the year, sixth
Ugh,
of his career. So third of the season, sixth of his career. To me, I think he's done. Worry about your health, your family. I just think this offseason, he's wearing the helmet, he's wearing the
yep.
poofy, Dubes helmet, but I think we look at replacement for next year, and I think it could be Blake Brandell. Give
Yeah,
him an off
even
season to prepare in training camp. He's a big guy in the middle. I think he has the ability if he spends more time working towards that. I thought the games that he's played center for the most part, I think he's done a great job.
yeah, he
So
did
let's
not
give him
look
a
bad
shot.
at all.
I'm all for that. He's already under contract. We're already paying the guy. Um, you know, kind of starter money because when he got that contract initially, that we thought he was going to be a starting left guard before
Right.
we went and got Donovan Jackson. So let's see what he does at center. That's where I'm at now. Jordan Mason, he gets hurt with an ankle injury. We're most likely not going to see Jordan Mason as well. So it's going to be the Aaron Jones and Xavier Scott show. We'll see if someone else gets brought up. I'm sure someone else will get brought up from the practice squad and JJ McCarthy. So those are the three big ones. I think coming up in a fourth one being Brian O'Neill with this heel.
Right.
We'll see how that plays out. But JJ McCarthy with his right hand, I just don't think enough time to where you want to risk it. And Brian O'Neill with that heel is really concerning, being that we're not going to have Darisaw. He's shut down. We're not going to have most likely Ryan Kelly. So you're going to miss three out of your five starters going into this. So this is going to be School. This is probably going to be Jurgens. And this is going to be Blake Brandell. And hopefully we don't have any injuries come Thursday.
One thing that, when you look at this injury report and you see a lot of guys on it, I think if I was Kwesi, I would say, let's see what a lot of these young guys on our roster can do.
Yeah.
Let's bring some more people up to see if anybody pops. I mean, we've got 2 games left where you can see what some of these young guys are doing because there are going to be some big decisions that need to be made in the offseason. So you kind of understand what you got with JJ McCarthy, but our offensive line, what do we have behind our starters? So that'll be
Yeah.
nice to see.
You're spot on. I don't know what's going to happen with the contract of Jordan Addison, if he's going to demand one this or if we have another year with him under his current rookie deal. We do have years with him, but it's whether or not he wants to demand a contract and try to force his way out. That remains to be a question. Now, obviously, this wasn't a stat season where, maybe he wants to play another year to
Right.
have a better season for a better contract. So that could play into things. Aaron Jones, we saw him limping a little bit, even though he played through yesterday's game. So that could be something to watch too. We didn't have Javon Hargrave. I'm okay with Javon Hargrave not playing in the game. I mean,
Yep.
obviously he's a good player, but I want Levi Drake Rodriguez. I want Tyrion Ingram Dawkins to get some
Yeah.
snaps. Elijah Williams. I just think that's where we're at and kind of how you brought it up. I want to see on the receiving side of the house with Jalen Naylor. If Addison leaves, he's our new number 2. So then that becomes a priority that we need to re-sign Naylor. And then
Right.
let's give Ty Felton. We saw a Ty Felton sighting during the game with Max Brosmer. They have
Let's
a
give him
connection.
all the time in the world to show
Absolutely.
what he's got.
Absolutely. And then Eric Wilson, you got, I want to see if he's ready to play, being that he's off the IR last week. If he can play in these last 2 games, I'd like to see what Gavin Bartholomew brings to the table. Ty Chandler, if he's back, maybe he's playing a little bit, because if Aaron Jones is a little bit banged up, you could see that happen. And then Austin Keys. Taking a look at what the Lions have, you know, again, they have some people on the roster. I don't think they have any major injuries. Amon St. Ross St. Brown, I fully expect them to play. They're in win now
Yep.
mode. I really don't think that there's anybody major that's on this list that, again, nobody practiced yesterday. So it's kind of hard to tell until we get into Tuesday, Wednesday practices who's possibly not playing the game for the Lions.
Yep.
Now, when
Oh,
we
look at
get
that.
into,
Marcus Davenport's on there.
yeah, right. So when we get into
Shocker.
the game and the keys of the game, these are the five main ones that I singled out, and we're going to talk about these one by one. But just a quick summary of these, as soon as I can get rid of. There we go. Maybe it wants to come off. All right. All right. I'm sticking here. There we go. All right.
There
So
we
Matt
go.
Rosberg versus the Lions, that defense. So disguise and pressure packages that they're going to throw at Max Brosmer if he's the starter. That's going to be something we're going to talk about. Justin Jefferson being explosive. So what we saw last week, hopefully we see more of that as he's
Oh
still
my
trying to
gosh.
get to those 1,000 yards receiving season. The Vikings interior O line versus the Lions interior defensive line. DJ Reader. Vikings defense versus the Lions offensive machine, and of course the red zone execution on both sides of the ball. So we're going to jump into all that next. And let me just shift here a little bit, and let's talk about number one. So Max Brosmer versus the Lions defense of disguise and pressure packages. So I think that they're going to try with Max Brosmer. They have tape on him. It's a spot start for him. We saw what happened in Seattle with the 4 picks that Max had. And they're going to try to confuse the rookie at the line. I think they're going to drop a lot more back in coverage because they're not going to have to send the house when we're missing 3 of our 5 starters on the offensive line. I think that's really going to be the battle and the decider in this game.
Absolutely. And Max Brosmer, I mean, here's another guy that you want to kind of understand what you've got with the guy. Get him some NFL, snaps. And he looked, pretty awful in that Seattle game. But when you look at the game from last week, I don't know how hard the Giants were actually trying, but he looked pretty decent when he came in for JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, there were some offensive line things that probably didn't go the way for Max Brosmer as well, too, against Seattle, which has an extremely good defense. Don't get me wrong, but breakdowns and even just the protection in that Seattle game, definitely caused, Max
Yeah,
Brosmer to maybe force some throws. So we'll see
absolutely.
if it's hard to say. Like, I mean, he's getting put back in his second start, possibly missing three of the 5 starters.
Yeah,
He's gotta be thinking, "Great, I get to start again, and I got, an injured offensive line,
yeah.
and I'm probably gonna be put through the same gamut I was versus Seattle in week 13."
The Lions D line is no joke, and they're going to come to win this game. Their season's on the line. They've got to win. So it's not like he's going to get the same type of game that he got with the Giants. They're actually coming to beat him.
Absolutely. You got Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, Hutchinson, of course,
Yep.
Anzalone and Campbell. They're gonna come at you, and, Davenport on the end too. But,
Tyleek Williams.
yeah, I mean, so they have some ballers, and we saw it when we started looking at least PFF stats. They have one of the best 4th rated defense in the league too, according to PFF. So it's a really good defense that they do have, especially in the trenches.
Heck yeah.
All right, so taking a look at our next key, Justin Jefferson being explosive. We showed it a lot in the film that we looked at from last week. We want to get him involved early and often if we want to stay competitive in this game. We need Justin Jefferson to be a factor, and I think he's going to be double covered, but I think that's one of the ways that they ran some different slants and inside routes to Justin Jefferson, where he was able to create space, get the ball, and then create yards after catch.
Absolutely. and it's in his best interest to do well. He's only a few hundred yards. Well, how many is it? Like 200 yards or 100,
Well,
150 yards, something like that, away
I
from a
will look
thousand
at
yard
it.
season.
I probably
Um,
should have had that pulled up already,
oh,
but
no worries. But yeah, he's close. I mean, it's within reach to get 1,000 yards, and he wants
mhm.
to get that 1,000 yard mark. And just judging by the effort and the routes that he ran in the last game, he's definitely going to make it.
Yeah,
We'll
he's at
see if
917 right now.
what's that?
He's at 917 right now, so it's
Oh yeah,
definitely within range.
absolutely. So
But we just need to get him going, continue to be explosive, and I think Max is able to deliver a very accurate football as long as he's given time. I think that is going to be the key hidden thing, and that kind of gets us into key number three,
there we
which
go.
could be the biggest one, and that's the Vikings interior end. Now we're looking at if we don't have O'Neal, and I couldn't find any Winter Warrior inside offensive lineman here for my picture, but if Brian O'Neal's not playing, we're missing Darisaw. We're missing both bookend tackles
Right.
on top of missing your center. So, like I said, we're probably seeing Justin
Are
School. We're
they
seeing Blake
saying who's
Brandel,
going to
Michael
start at
Jurgens.
center? Are they going to go with
No,
Jurgens, or are they going to go with Blake Brandel?
I feel like they're probably going to go with Michael Jurgens so they can kick out School to
Sure.
one of the kick out Brandel to one of the tackles. I
Gotcha.
feel like that's what they're going to do. Um, but we'll see. That's just my initial feeling on it, and then for who they're maybe going to bring up, you could see a Joe Huber come up or a Walter Rousey. That's probably going
Yeah.
to be activated for this game as well.
Yeah. Huber showed some grit early in the season. I feel like if they give him a little bit of a chance, I feel like they don't really want to, burn him out and just throw him to the wolves essentially
Yeah.
against this incredible D line. And if you get a bad taste in your mouth and you look like crap, it's going to kind of affect your future um, efforts on the O line. So I feel like Huber could do something really well. We'll see.
All right. So the Vikings defense for number 4 against that Lions offensive juggernaut. Now,
Yeah.
their offense is really revolved around Jameer Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We saw it against the Steelers. I mean, he had, I want to say he had at least 10 catches versus the Steelers. Jamar Gibbs did. Uh,
Mhm.
Jameer, he was fantastic. So even when he's not hurting in the running game, he can hurt you in the passing game. And now Amon-Ra St. Brown did not have a huge game against the Steelers, but he has the capability we saw the week before to have just ginormous games.
Right.
So you're kind of picking your poison as far as where you're going to put the different protections and what we saw last week versus the Steelers, or I keep saying last week, 2 days ago versus the Steelers, is Jameer Gibbs. He leaks out of the backfield, gets the ball, and then he's able to make players miss, and he's explosive. He's got wheels. So he's got that breakaway speed that he can really turn a quick screen in. He can take it the distance if he has to.
Yeah, I think Brian Flores he's got something dialed up for him. I don't know if it has to do with possibly a spy on Jameer Gibbs, but
You
that's
have to.
one guy that you really need to know where he's at on the field at all times. So Jameer Gibbs is definitely one of the keys to, if you can stop Jameer Gibbs or at least contain him, you have a
Mhm.
chance to win. And it seems like Brian Flores always has a plan for, whatever is happening in that particular game. So that's definitely something that Brian Flores needs to stop.
Needs to if we're gonna win. All right,
Yep.
key number 5, red zone execution. So we already know since we're on this, since Campbell's been a head coach with the Lions, we know that he likes going for it on 4th down.
Yep.
So when he's in the red zone, we already know that he's going to keep going. He's going to get the score. He doesn't want to settle for field goals. So we're going to have to be somewhat aggressive in this game too when we have red zone opportunities, and we have to make sure that we're converting and we're not kicking field goals. Now we have to be smart in certain situations. We have to be willing to take the points as well too, and we have to hope that the defense is able to somewhat force either Detroit into field goals, or because, like I already mentioned, they're going to go for it on 4th down. our defense, in order to win this game, they have to have multiple fourth down stops in this game.
Absolutely. I think that we can absolutely do that. Brian Flores and the entire Vikings defense has shown throughout the season that they can do it. I think one of the keys to our defense doing well is maybe some takeaways. We haven't really focused a lot on that, considering how well we did last year with getting takeaways. I think the plus minus is not favorable this year compared to last year.
Sure. Now, we talked about the red zone execution. We've been good in the last few games. We'll see if that ends up being a deciding factor. But again, my biggest thing that affects all of this is, can that offensive line hold up, not only to help our running
Yeah,
game, but
you're so right.
more importantly, protect Max Brosmer. Otherwise, I think we're going to see a repeat of that Week 13 Seattle Seahawks game,
Yep.
because if Max has no time to throw back there, he could go into panic mode. And not that he's one to panic, but when you don't have time to even find your reads, it's just going to be it's going to be a rough day if we can't protect Max Brosmer at all.
Man, that first interception in Seattle, where he just kind of flicked the ball up out of nowhere, is like a no look pass. He's got to cut that out. If you didn't do that pass, I think he doesn't just go straight down the tubes right after that, because it just I think it rattled him in his brain,
And we have to mention it. So, Minnesota Vikings, and I think that their defense has played a lot better than they've been given credit for. The Minnesota Vikings this year has been the reason why we're in games. It's been our offense and the inefficiencies and not being able to extend drives or convert scores has been the reason why we've been losing ball games. So this defense has kept us in against some really potent offenses, and now we're on a 6-game stretch where we have not allowed a passing touchdown. And for me, I think it's maybe too tall of a task this week versus the Detroit Lions. I don't think it goes to a 7th. I just think that they have way too much firepower. We have way too many injuries, not only on the offensive side, but also the defense. We don't have Metellus. We don't have Grenard. So you're missing some players that are not going to be helping you. Hargrave maybe out again for this game. So you're missing some players, and I think that the defense is still good. But again, if we're 3 and outs in this game, we can't protect Brosmer, we can't extend drives. The defense is the time of possession might be an extended, 2-to-1 type thing, to where your defense is getting tired, and eventually, the bend don't break, maybe breaks in this 7th game.
Yep, absolutely. You're spot on, man. I think you're right that it is a little bit too tall of a task to say, don't let these guys score a passing touchdown. Obviously, they're going to try not to let them score a touchdown.
Right.
But I don't believe that we're going to have the refs on our side during this game like the refs were on the Steelers side against the Lions last week. So I don't think we can count on that 2 plays in a row, offensive pass interference, to keep them out of the end zone.
I got one more big one for you.
All right,
Josh, Skol Geek. Playbook Ponderings. What do the Vikings do in 2026 at quarterback? So we have
big question.
We have one more game after this. If JJ doesn't play this game, and he maybe doesn't play next week because of the hand situation of where it's at, from what we've seen in his 7 games that he's played, is that enough to go into the season? And do we bring in someone to compete, or do we bring in somebody to start? And what do you think happens next year?
I mean, I've said this throughout the entire year, that this year, JJ McCarthy was meant to develop. Yes, he wasn't as good as what I thought he was going to be throughout the year, but I wasn't thinking that we were going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I thought we needed to have our rookie quarterback develop on a similar trajectory to what Drake May did last year. Obviously, he wasn't going to the Super Bowl. He just did really well in making those development stages throughout the entire season. And then the next year he comes in and he actually looks good. And if you look at other quarterbacks like, Peyton Manning, he had a terrible rookie year. A lot of lot of these quarterbacks, I know that you can have a good year, like Bo Nix, like Jaden Daniels. We've kind of been lucky these past couple of years, 2024 and 2023, with CJ Stroud, like having these guys that go off in their rookie year. But that is not normal. That's not the norm for a rookie quarterback. And I'm saying rookie quarterback because JJ, this is
Yeah,
his
this is
first
a
year
rookie year.
starting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is not a normal thing to do, to just come in and just blow it out of the water the first thing. You have to, get your feet wet. So I personally believe that JJ McCarthy is going to be the starter next year, but that was an oversight as far as like Kwesi is concerned, not bringing in somebody that actually could start. It sucks that he let um, what's the Colts quarterback's name? Indiana Jones.
Daniel
Daniel
Jones.
Jones, yes. It sucks that we let him walk out of the building. It sucks that we didn't sign Sam Darnold for $33 million a year, but I don't think they wanted to be attached to that contract for the next 3 years. But yeah, I feel like if we can get like a Mac Jones in here, or maybe a Brissett, Jacoby Brissett, like somebody that actually has the ability to spin the
Brissett
ball.
ain't coming. Brissett's probably
Yeah,
going to be staying with
yeah.
Arizona. I think he's played well enough to deserve an opportunity maybe in
Oh, I'm
Arizona.
sure. But would he want to stay there? I don't know. If I was Brissett, I'd go where I thought I could throw to Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, so you saw Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of come on. You've
Yeah,
seen
Michael
um,
Wilson,
Michael Wilson
Trey
really
McBride.
start to show form, and you got Trey McBride as
Yeah,
well too. And you got to remember they haven't been healthy at running back, so that has not been helping them for most of the year. They're down to like their third and fourth running backs, fourth running back, fourth and fifth at times.
yep,
So I mean, it's really been rough for them with some of the health issues. They've missed Marvin Harrison Jr. for multiple stretches during the season. So I think given a healthy crack at it, uh, even just what he's done when Harrison Jr. is not playing and the issue that they have at running back, to see what he's been able to do as a quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals and come in versus what we saw with Kyler Murray. I gotta say, I mean, that's the
yep,
reason why Kyler Murray is benched, obviously, but
yeah,
and that they're probably not going to resign him. So if that's the case and you're going to get rid of Kyler because of how Brissett has performed, I don't see that there's any way that they let Brissett leave without a contract this
yeah.
offseason early.
That's a good point. One guy I was thinking about at the beginning of the year was Joe Flacco. If he can take another sip out of the fountain of youth and come back one more year, he might not be a bad option. I know that he's not a long-term option, but definitely somebody that has a lot of knowledge, a lot of years around the league, and he could definitely help a young guy out like JJ McCarthy. But uh, it would be nice to have somebody that has youth and experience, not just experience.
Yeah, I'd rather see somebody that to compete. I think I like the trajectory where McCarthy's going. Give him a full off season.
Yep.
That he didn't have a full off season healthy to keep practicing and preparing. And I think hopefully we don't make the same mistakes when we go into training camp next year and into preseason games. JJ McCarthy needs to play some preseason games.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. So are
and
you gonna
then,
call your shot? Who's coming in?
well, I would like to see an individual. I think you're kind of on the same page I am. I don't know if I'm ready to call my shot as far as who's going to come in. But I like somebody to come in and I would say push him. But
Yes,
I still want JJ to most likely be the starter. I don't want to bring in somebody to start, but I want
yes,
to bring in somebody to compete. And if JJ gets injured, we have somebody that's serviceable that can maybe play in quarterback a little bit. We'll see what happens. I think, a quarterback like a Malik Willis is probably going to demand
Oh, that's a
too much
great
out on the
idea.
market. That could be a potential option, but I mean, I just think that what people have seen, I think he maybe gets an opportunity somewhere to start. And, you know, um, that's just how I feel on Malik Willis. I think a lot of people have seen that, hey,
Yeah,
there's some potential and maybe he needs to get the Sam Darnold treatment to where he gets another opportunity after leaving Tennessee. We've seen him have some growth and actually look really good in the opportunities he's had with Green Bay. I
Yeah,
think somewhere there's going to be somebody that gives Malik Willis a chance, like the Dolphins, and maybe looking for something different at quarterback.
absolutely. Are there any other guys around the league that are kind of in that same breath where they actually have
Mhm.
youth and they have experience and they're kind of like that Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, where they could come in and get a second chance?
You could say Kyler Murray's going to be somewhere, in just he's got um, you
Absolutely.
know, could it be? I mean, let's not say that Arizona is a stellar organization. So,
Yeah,
change of
yeah,
scenery for Kyler Murray could be good too. Um, so that type of option is out there, but I think with the money, it doesn't make sense in Minnesota. So he exists out there, but unless you're trying to start him, Kyler Murray, I
right.
think, is going to be just demanding too much.
Yeah,
There could be a situation where Daniel Jones could end up back. We don't know with his injury situation what that contract's going to look like, but
yeah,
um, so hear me out. He looks really good with the Colts. I
yep.
think it would be crazy for them to not bring him back, but at the same time, they keep looking at Anthony Richardson like, you know, there's no way. Like I'll be shocked if the Colts do not say we got to give him one more shot.
Yeah,
There's just a lot of talent in that guy's body. If he can get it figured out as far as accuracy, kind of some stuff that we saw with JJ early, right? And
yeah.
he's starting to figure out if Anthony Richardson can do some of that same things.
He's young.
He's dynamic, and again, he's another guy that needs to slide and
Yep.
not take the hits.
Yeah.
But if he
See,
can do
I
that,
I
he's
grew up in Florida, so I grew up a Florida Gator fan, and I
mhm,
watched a lot of, Anthony Richardson football at Florida, and he's one of those guys that he one week you'll just be like, "Yes, he finally got it figured out. He's just
yeah,
amazing. He's the best quarterback ever." And then the next week he comes back and makes the same exact mistakes that he made before that was having you pull your hair out.
mhm,
So, personally, I don't wanna see him on the Vikings, but I could see why a lot of people can see that there's potential there, and if
right.
you can get a guy like that to, kind of improve on his, effort and also his completion percentage, you could definitely see that him being a starting NFL quarterback.
And I think with our salary cap where we're at, I don't think that we wanna make a deal for, like, a Mac Jones. I think you're trading too much,
Yeah,
and at the same time, what are you gonna pay him?
yeah,
You're probably gonna have to pay him,
30.
mm, at least mid-20s,
Yep,
you know? I don't know about 30, but he played enough games for the 49ers to probably demand a high 20s,
yeah, and
low
he looked
30
good in
type
those
contract.
games. He's a real beast. He didn't give up in any of those games, like, some of those games, he was just getting destroyed and still coming back out there and
Mhm.
spinning the ball, so,
And you gotta think we're not the only team looking for a quarterback.
yep,
I think Miami's looking to move off of Tua. That could be another option for them to where they wanna move off that contract. I can see them making a trade, like that, trying to
yep,
acquire a Mac Jones and bringing him in and being willing to it's whoever the Vikings let's just say they wanted a Mac Jones.
yep,
Let's just say that's who they wanted. Now you go to the market. We're kind of in that situation where we still want to see what we have in JJ McCarthy. Whereas
yeah,
the Dolphins are pretty much set. They're willing to give probably a multi-year deal because Mac Jones is probably going to be looking for like a 2-year deal.
yep,
He doesn't want a 1-year deal. He probably wants like a 2-year deal at maybe like that high 20, low 30 range, to where it's kind of like a jo- Justin Fields type contract,
yeah,
and I think that's fair. So there are going to be some teams that want to go after him. Could be the Jets. Even just talking about the Jets, they don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. So there's just competition for those type of individuals out there, not just for trading. trade value and what you're going to get. So a Kyler Murray or a Mac Jones, not only do you have to barter
Yep.
and trade to
Draft
try to get those
compensation.
individuals. Yeah, you're competing with other teams, and then you're
Yep.
also competing, with what kind of contract. Well, I don't want to go
Yeah.
there. This team's willing to give
Salary
me,
cap.
yeah. So we're just going to be up against it. So I just think that there's other individuals that we maybe have to take a look at. And honestly, JJ's proven enough to where, yes, I want to see him get more opportunities. So we're not going to get the premier players
Right.
that are out there.
Here's one we haven't talked about. Trey Lance. Food for thought. Bring him home.
I mean, that's probably not the veteran that I'd be looking for. But I was intrigued previously about Trey. Max Brosmer is maybe better right now at this point, and I get it. The Seattle game was gross, but he also didn't get the protection. We've
Yep.
seen what JJ McCarthy looks like when he doesn't have protection. We've seen what Carson Wentz looks like when he doesn't have protection. So again, I don't know how much you can really grade Max Brosmer off of the Seattle game
Yeah.
or this upcoming game on
Hey,
Thursday,
That's
especially
why I'm excited to
the
see what he
offensive
can do in
lineman.
this game.
Absolutely, but I just don't think that you can say he can't do it.
Yeah.
When you're not getting time to throw the ball in the pocket and your pocket is collapsing, there's a lot of quarterbacks that will not succeed.
Yeah.
Like really good quarterbacks in the league that will not succeed against a really good defense that we saw in Seattle or that we're about to see Thursday if
Right.
if the offensive line can't hold up. So
It's gonna
I
be
hate the
interesting.
idea of writing off Max Brosmer just for that. So that's just where I'm at. Trey Lance, is he any better than what you already have in Max where you're developing him? And now almost having to start over with a Trey. So I don't hate it. I
Mhm.
maybe just don't love it.
Yeah.
When you have Max Brosmer already still here, I'd rather see somebody that has proven games under their belt
Yeah.
that comes in, and it
I don't
could
think Trey
be.
Lance has really had very many opportunities to show what he's got, though. I'd like to see him
I,
out there
I'm
with the
I'm
starting
agreeing
lineup.
with you. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying that we're probably, as long as the hand's going to be good, we're probably looking for a backup.
Yeah.
And
Somebody to
somebody that
push
can
him. We
teach,
need somebody to push
push,
JJ
but
McCarthy.
then that can also teach.
Yep. Yep.
To maybe help him grow. That's
That's
going to be
true.
good for development, and that's all I'm saying with Trey. That I'd like to find somebody that has a little bit of both. Like this year
Yes.
going into it, a guy that I kind of wanted to see was Tannehill. I thought Tannehill would have been a good guy to bring in. Thank goodness. I just want to bring this up. When you watch the Colts last night, now I'm amazed how some
Phillip
of these
Rivers.
passes even get completed.
Yeah.
The way that Phillip Rivers is throwing the ball, it looks like one hell of a struggle. Like he's taking months off of
I was
his
telling
life
my
with
cousin, he
every
looks like
throw.
Uncle Rico, man. He's just like,
And it looks forced so dang bad to where I just can't, I'm like, how are people not picking off these balls? And eventually it happened, but I was just like, how is this happening?
yeah.
Like he'd throw touchdowns and
I mean, he's always had that really weird release and the really weird arm angle. I mean,
yeah.
not an arm angle like a baseball player. Arm angle like Uncle Rico just looks
But
terrible.
it's different now. I mean, remember when Peyton Manning fell off and he just didn't have the
Yeah.
arm strength anymore? That is Phillip Rivers right now.
Yeah.
And it's even more with Phillip Rivers. So I mean,
Yeah.
it just looks so forced. So I just don't want to bring in somebody that's, you know, can't throw the ball, if we
Joe
have to
Flacco
have
still
them
got
throw
it,
the
man.
ball.
I know that
I
you
get
want youth and you want somebody with experience,
Joe
but
Joe
you
could be
go
a
to the
guy.
grocery store
Yeah.
and it's snowing outside and there's no milk on the shelves. That's kind of how it is. There's not a whole lot
Yeah.
of quarterbacks out there.
As long as Joe Flacco, I mean, he is the type of guy that I would say, yes, let's bring in a Joe Flacco type guy because he can teach. And if you need him to start, we saw what he was able to do in Cincinnati with a couple good wide receivers in a good running game. He could be explosive on offense. So he was able to do that when he left from Cleveland to go to Cincinnati. So um, again, a year does things. So if he's still able to throw the ball, yeah, I'd take a gamble on Joe Flacco. He's not going to be expensive.
Yep.
He's not going to cost us any draft picks. So yeah, absolutely. So that brings us to towards the end of our show
Yeah.
that we have. I do want to thank you so much, Josh, for joining
Yeah.
us. Um,
Been
hey,
fun.
I want to do this again. I want to do this again. I appreciate you coming on. Any last words that you have for the audience and followers out there?
No, not really. I mean, just follow me on X, at SkolGeek. And I do want to thank you for having me on. It's been a blast. Really fun talking about the Vikings, even though we don't have a whole lot to play for these last couple of games. It's still something to be excited for, because once you get out of the season, you start hankering for a little bit of football. So I always try to look at these last games, even though there's not a lot to play for, and just cherish what we've got. So excited to watch these last two games.
All right. Well, follow Skol Geek at Skol Geek on X. Josh would appreciate that. And thanks again for being on here. For all the followers out there, if you're not already following us, again on X, especially on YouTube, because that's where our primary streaming source is. And then again, I'm working on getting up. They're already on there, but you can go ahead and search us for Vikings Playbook on Facebook and Instagram as we start to build those as well. But thank you so much for joining us on the Vikings Playbook. Check in next week, where we're probably going to be back at our regular time for most games, where we're probably going to be at that because it is a regular Sunday noon game
I
next
believe
week, I
so.
believe.
Yep.
So we'll be back for the Vikings pregame show again on Saturdays at 9 p.m. So Saturday at 9 p.m. is where you can catch the next Vikings Playbook pregame show. And yeah, Sunday starts here with the Vikings Playbook. And in this week, in this case, Christmas Day, Thursday starts here. So to all of you guys out there, I wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays out there. Enjoy the time that you have with your family. Hope you get all the gifts that you want. And thank you so much for Vikings Playbook, for the Skol Geek, Josh, and myself, Steve Hoikkala, your host. This has been the Vikings Playbook. Skol Vikings.